I really need to do this for me right now, but I've decided to just make a video out of it and share it with you guys because it'll be informational for all of us. But there has been a really big shift for me lately, and I'm not quite sure how to wrap my mind around it. I know that Mercury has been in retrograde and combust, which really made me not want to upload the video that I did. You just really don't want to launch something unless it's when Mercury's in a retrograde. But the only reason I did it is because I look at it as Mercury's retrograde tells you you have to go back and do something. So I really didn't launch anything. I relaunched it. I went back. I've had access to the channel for about a month, but I've been trying to make sure I had it locked down and all of that. But things have been just different. There's just been a shift in energies that I haven't been able to put my finger on. So I thought I would take a deeper look. And so I've decided to invite you guys to come along and take a deeper look with me. And let's see what's going on. It's September the 6th, 2023. The sun is in Leo. Mercury is combust of the sun and retrograde. This means communication shutdown, communication breakdown. It means not a good time to take a trip. If you do, make sure your spare's in good shape, that kind of thing. Make sure you have enough gas. Just check all your P's and Q's where any travel is concerned. Mercury retrograde, terrible time to sign any contract. And it's combust of the sun in the sign of the sun. So it's all just going to go up in smoke is what's going to happen. So don't enter into any new ventures. Mercury retrograde, great time to go back and finish old correspondence. Do things you've been putting off. Do something that needed to be done again. It wasn't done right the first time. You need to go back and do it again. Now's the time to do those things. Catch up with old acquaintances. Mercury retrograde, all things, because we're in a duality, all things, not just a Mercury retrograde. It has its negative side, but there's always another way. It's duality, it's opposite. It's just how you deal with it. And that's the good thing about knowing astrology, and especially how it connects to the chakras, because then you understand how it affects you more personally and how to deal with it. So, now the combustion part of this, combustion is being within 10 degrees of the sun. So for Mercury to be within 10 degrees of the sun, it is what I call when you speak or when you try to communicate, regardless of how that's done. When you're trying to communicate, you're being suppressed or oppressed from an outside source other than self. It's other than self. Unless it's subconsciously you're self-sabotaging and shutting yourself down. So it could come from self, subconsciously, or self-sabotage. But major communication breakdown, and generally from outside source being shut down, shut up, told to sit down and shut up. So Mercury, in the solar plexus, in the sign of Leo, masculine sign. It's fire. It's what I called in the golden belt. When you hear about angels described, or even Jesus described in Revelation, he's got on this white vesture and robe, and then he's got a gold belt around his waist. That's your solar plexus chakra, and it houses the sun and the moon, the sun in the masculine, the moon in the feminine, the sun in Leo and the moon in Cancer. I got a Kelly alert. Sorry about that. Kelly's not doing well lately. I'm really worried about her, but she is really old and very sick as well. Anyway, I completely lost my train of thought, so I'm just going with it. Moving forward, Mars, are you retrograde? No. Is Venus? Venus is not retrograde, and Mars is not retrograde. But Mars is in or on the mutable cross, which again, that's your emotions, that's your sexuality, that's your actions. And here on that mutable cross, it tends to push Mars to the extreme, and it's very bipolar. Again, duality. Now, in this situation, remember, all things come in threes. So even though we're in a duality as humans, we have the option of that third choice, which is that middle path. And it's not being from one extreme to the other. Those are the two pillars. You have to stay in the middle, and you become the observer. You know, all the world is a stage, and in the play, you have the characters on the stage, the actors. You have those backstage. That's like the subconscious running the show. Everything that's going on is going on behind the curtain. The writers, the directors, the props, the makeup, all of it's going on backstage. And then there's the audience. There's the audience. So there's always a third way. Over here, you can get by with just dealing with Mercury in duality, just playing he's retrograde, so let's use that to our advantage by achieving the opposite of that retrograde. But Mars, being on the mutable cross, in that bipolar, because it pushes to the extreme on both sides, you don't want to play that duality. You need that third choice. And that third choice is stoicism, to be disdain, to be the audience, be the observer. Don't participate. Don't become emotionally triggered. Check yourself. What else have we got going on? Pluto, are you... Let's deal with the subconscious for a minute. I'm trying to keep an eye on Kelly here while I'm doing this. So I've got her right up under me. Pluto, are you retrograde? This one we got to work with the numbers. And they are 49556. Yes. Pluto is retrograde. Those of you who are in the know, Pluto retrograde, you tend to win arguments you don't deserve to win. Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. So that's bouncing that energy off of Mars in the other Earth sign. What else have we got in an Earth sign over here? The moon in an Earth sign. Is your Uranus ain't quite made it there yet, I don't think. We'll have to check that. But the moon in an Earth sign. So you got a lot of energy in the earth signs now. And you've got Mercury retrograde on the cardinal cross and Pluto retrograde. You win arguments you don't deserve to win. If you've got Pluto retrograde in your natal chart, that's what that means. But it's subconsciously is what it's dealing with. So there could be a lot of subconscious triggers to that Mars over here because it's trining it. To trine means it's in the same element. To be squared means it's on the same cross. Now Saturn is opposing and squaring the Sun and Mercury. Omaha and Regulus, that's the Sphinx, where the Saturn and the Sun are. Saturn should not be... Yes, Saturn retrograde. Wow. I knew there was a lot going on. I just wasn't sure where the energy was coming from because I haven't really taken the time to look. I've been way too busy trying to deal with other stuff. So we got a Saturn retrograde opposite a Mercury retrograde. Saturn retrograde is in your natal chart. It's people who have authority over you, take advantage of you, abuse you. Yeah, it's not a good thing. And this authority, this can go down in the workplace, in the school, in the home, just anywhere where you're around people who have authority over you. So keep an eye out for that. It's not good to let people run all over you. If you need help, ask for it. Stand up for yourself, but watch out for it. Try not to trigger it. Abuse comes in all forms. I even consider, as a child, neglect is abuse to me. A neglected child will suffer emotional and social damage for the rest of their life if they grow up without any interaction and stimulation. They're just neglected. And that comes in many forms as well. Okay, before I jump over here to Jupiter, I'm going to put us over here and I'm going to pause again because my Kelly's just not doing well. Okay, she don't usually do this to me, but she's not liking me making this video, which is Mercury combust of the Sun retrograde. It's exactly what that is. Jupiter, how are you doing? Oops. Ooh, Jupiter looks stationary. I'm going to have to go by the numbers. 14, 43, 5. Yes, Jupiter retrograde. My goodness. On the cardinal cross with Pluto retrograde. Jupiter retrograde. Thinking outside of the box. Cardinal in cardinal fire. Did I catch it? Uranus still in Aries. I know it looks like Taurus, but it's Aries. Are you retrograde? 42, 56, 6. Yep. Uranus retrograde. That's the conscious mind. That's crazy. No wonder this shift. So we've got Uranus retrograde, Jupiter retrograde, Saturn retrograde, Pluto retrograde, Mercury retrograde. Let's go for Neptune. My goodness. This is totally getting out of hand. Pisces. I'm at Neptune on that mutable cross in Pisces with Mars. So that's the imagination. That's also going to be a trigger for Mars and those emotions. being triggered to that bipolar, to the extreme, to whether you're really, really happy or you're really, really sad. Are you retrograde? 17463. Yep. I'm not shocked. Ironically, what happens in a retrograde is it's considered that planet is closest to the Earth when it goes into retrograde, because the Earth kind of catches up with it and then surpasses it, and then the rotation starts again. It's a funny dynamic of circles within circles, which I kind of get. It makes sense to me. But I know Saturn is at its closest point to the Earth. So if we've got this many retrogrades, we got a lot of energy that's really pushing down on the Earth. Now, with that said, we're in the age of Pisces, coming into Aquarius. That's where the sun is. And I asked this question years ago. If the sun is there, where's the Earth? Right? Where's the Earth in all of this? The Earth is in Virgo, getting ready to move into Leo. The Earth is here. The Earth is 10 degrees Virgo. If the sun is 10 degrees Pisces, opposing each other. So we're in the age of mutable Earth. In Pisces, that's why you look up. We have the concept of the heaven is mirrored, because if the sun is in Pisces, the Earth is actually in the middle, right? We're in the middle. Astrology is geocentric, or Earth-centered. But when you look at it from above, if the sun is in Pisces, then the sun hits the Earth in the center, and the Earth's shadow is cast into Virgo. And that is looking up, mirrored. And that's why the Catholic Church venerates the Black Madonna, the woman draped in black, like Islam does. Same thing. They have the crossed swords. That's the mutable cross. The Vatican has the Chi-Rho. Even the word Vatican, I call it the vat icon. Sometimes I call it the bat icon. But the V is water. The A is air. And the T is the Tau. They're all symbol. They're all alchemical. All three are alchemical symbols, or astrological symbols, or both. So everybody but Mars and Venus are retrograde. Everybody. That's freaking crazy. Venus, not retrograde. It looked like it's just coming out or just going in. It's going in an up position. Both Mercury and Venus are in a turn. They're in a turn, but in motion, going forward. So, Venus rules earth and air. And this is cardinal water. Mars does really bad here. Mars is debilitated here. But this is home. This is mama's house. This is family. And when Venus is here, we say, home is where the heart is. That's literally where this comes from, is Venus being in Cancer. So, that's the only redeemable thing going on right now. The only redeemable thing besides Jupiter, at least retrograde, means We can think outside of the box, outside of the cube, outside of the cross. A box is a cube, is a cross. All the same thing. Saturn retrograde is not good. Neptune retrograde can be good. Again, duality, it can be just as bad. Because it enhances the imagination. And imagination is a good escape sometimes, especially from this reality. We can imagine anything we want to. Unfortunately, most people imagine the most horrific things. We've been so programmed to be a negative, pessimistic society, especially this woke generation. They scream inclusivity, but their actions is all about hate and exclusion. Just the opposite. They say one thing, do another. Moon in Taurus, I reckon that's good. Everybody likes being in Taurus. It's fixed earth. It's the stable earth. So everybody likes being here. It's all the earth signs are about making money, earning it, work, career, achievements, hard work here. But the moon fixed. Moon is fixed right now. Where are we at? I was sitting there looking at the moon earlier today. I was going to say it was a half moon. 55% illuminated. So that's a little bit of stability at night. But the rest of this, I don't even know how to juggle this. This is so retrograde all over the place. How do we get through that? I think we should look at this in the chakras so we get a little bit better picture, being as we have so much retrograde. And that we should also think about, because we're in frickin' Gemini upside down unicorn rainbow world right now, how to use these retrogrades to our advantage. Let's go take a peeky-do. Let me get all this in my mind. Uranus and Jupiter in Aries, root chakra. Moon in Taurus, upper chakra. Saturn in the crown chakra. Neptune in the navel chakra. Pluto don't get a chakra. Neptune don't get a chakra. Why did I say that? They don't get a chakra. Well, I guess they are there. They don't rule a chakra. So Pluto in the crown chakra. Mars in the upper chakra, throat chakra. The sun in the solar plexus in its own house. The only one in its own house. I take that back. Saturn is in its own house. Mercury in the solar plexus as well. Alright, I've got all that in my head. I'm going to pause it and take us over to Chakra Man. Alright. You coming on? There we go. Alright, we have the Sun and Mercury here in the solar plexus. So we have the Sun and we have Mercury retrograde combust. In Cancer, we have Venus. We have our heart in Cancer. We have our logic, intelligence, communication, navigation, all there in the solar plexus. Venus, not retrograde. Crown chakra, we have Pluto in Capricorn, retrograde. We have Saturn in Aquarius, retrograde. Alright, root chakra, Aries. Aries, we have Uranus, retrograde. And Jupiter, retrograde. And Pisces, we have Neptune retrograde. And Virgo, we have Mars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What are we missing? The Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus. No, the Moon. The Moon is in Taurus. So the Moon is here in Taurus. This is, the Moon. Alright, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 planets retrograde. That's a lot. That's a lot of energy. And it's 1, 2, 3 in the lower chakra, 4 in the lower chakra, and 2 in the crown chakra. That's not good. The root chakra's got Jupiter and Uranus, the conscious mind and Jupiter, both retrograde in the root chakra, and Saturn and Pluto, the subconscious mind, both retrograde in the crown chakra. OGG, with Mercury retrograde combust in the solar plexus. So really, this Jupiter retrograde's in favor because you think outside of the box. But it's in the house of emotions, actions, war, and Pluto's the same. In Capricorn and these two really oppose each other. Their Aries and Capricorn are squared each other. They're on the same cross. They're both cardinal fire and cardinal earth. This looks like a war. Just as Jupiter is beneficial retrograde, so is Pluto. But Saturn is not. Saturn can be very abusive. But also Saturn retrograde is the gloves come off. It's like there are no rules in love and war. It's, what do they call it? No holds barred. No holds barred. So this can get really dirty. I don't think I've seen anything this bad, literally, since I've been doing astrology. No wonder I felt this shift. Plus the heat. I know I'm talking to people from all over the world, but I'm in Middle America, and it's been so hot here, you can't breathe outside. Our days have been averaging about 115. You throw some humidity into that, and it's up into the 120s. And literally, the grass crunches. One match, about a dozen states would go up. It just in smoke, instantly. There's been no rain. We have promise of rain, but it never comes. They tell us the temperatures are going to get lower, but they're not. They haven't yet. And it's just been unbearably miserable. You can't go outside. We wanted to go camping. It wasn't possible. The whole week we blocked out to go camping. It was over 120 degrees. You would literally smother walking out the door. There was no wind. It was so stale, so hot. You pretty much, you can only go out real late at night. Like right now, it's still here. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30, and it's 91 degrees outside. It's incredible. So we've been dealing with a lot of heat. No birds. I just had my cardinals just showed up yesterday. I haven't seen them all summer long. They just showed up. Still haven't seen any squirrels. Zero. I even seen the hawks hanging out with the crows. It's getting so bad. And that's about the only birds I've seen are the random hawk that fly solo and crows who, what do they call it? A murder of crows is what they call a flock of crows, a murder of crows. Yeah. Okay, well, this is crazy. I don't want to make this video too long. I'm going to try to keep it short. I don't have all the answers here. This is just wild. I don't know where to begin. I'm going to have to process this information right here before I can determine how we need to deal with this. You know, you talk about make a plan of action. Well, you have that Mars in Virgo here. Mars in Virgo. It's no, Mercury is Mars in Virgo. He's bipolar. This is your actions. So actions are going to be to the extreme. So again, be the audience, be the observer is almost the answer to all of this. Is don't participate, because life is, everything is this Hegelian dialect of problem, reaction, solution. And we know that the solutions they've got lined up are not in our favor. So the only way to prevent that from occurring is to don't do that, which is no reaction. And that's be the middleman, be the audience, be the observer, be stoic, separate yourself from the issue. Don't be triggered, because there's so much triggering this Mars. You got it. Pisces, the imagination going wild, opposing it. So you could actually trigger your own self by just letting your thoughts get out of control, your imagination. You're dreaming up shit that's happening that ain't even happening. It's just making it up in your head. And then Pluto, also in that Earth sign, that subconscious mind, triggering those emotions. And the moon in an Earth sign, the Earth hit the trifecta as far as being in the Earth sign. They all got something, all three of them. It hit the trifecta and the solar plexus, which is plugged in. You got the heart, upper chakra. So who's dominant here? You have 1, 2, 3. I consider these two in the lower chakra, 4, 5, 6 in the lower chakra, and 1, 2, 3, 4 in the upper chakras. Or you can go 1, 2, 3, 4 in the upper, 3 in the lower, and 3 in the middle. So stay in the middle. Stay with your heart at home in mama's house. And keep your mouth shut. Because it doesn't matter what you say, it's going to be mistaken, misunderstood, and oppressed, suppressed. So just keep your opinions to yourself for now. Write them down and come back to them later. Go back and finish old correspondence. That's how you deal with that Mercury retrograde, combust. But don't sign anything. Don't do anything. Don't go anywhere if you don't have to. Don't make any long trips. Don't enter into any contracts of any kind. Not a good time to enter into a relationship. All I'm seeing here is connect with family. Connect with family, and then try not to get in an argument or a fight. Because this root chakra will just go off. And you don't have a lot of help up here. Saturn retrograde is going to be the hard disciplinarian. He's going to teach a hard lesson. It's not going to be easy here. And it's in Aquarius's house. That's the self-martyr. perfect for the self-sabotage over here. The self-sabotage here as well. So don't do it to yourself. You know, because in the end, you really can't blame anybody but yourself. We make our choices. We make our choices. We take those forks in the road. My problem is I stand and look at the fork for too long. I overanalyze it. Instead of just instinctively going forward, don't take the fork. You need a 3-pronged fork at least. All right, I'm going to cut this here. And you know what to do. Commit your random acts of kindness. That's just going to, how does the Bible put it? Love covereth a multitude of sins. Just one kind act can gain you so much ground. Being grateful can gain you so much ground. You have no idea. It will make more difference in the now and in the future than you can ever imagine. It can even cover up sins from your past. Because love covereth a multitude of sins. That sins you've already committed. Whatever a sin is. To me, sin, there is really only one sin, really, and that's to harm others. You don't harm others. All of these other things, whether you're coveting or lying or murdering or stealing, all of those are harming someone or something. Be kind. Don't harm anyone or anything. And be grateful, even for the little things. Even for the tiny things. Be very, very grateful. All right, people. This channel is 100% viewer supported by subscribers like you. Won't you consider becoming a sponsor or making a one-time donation? It is much needed and would be much appreciated. I would be eternally grateful. And have a great day. It's the best day you can with all this going on. I'm going to sit down and go through this of how it affects me. And again, decide what to do. Mars action, which is probably no action. It's this right here. Home in the heart. Home is where the heart is. Or the heart is where home is. Can that play both ways?